Just start off by giving us an assessment of the tsunami situation. You know, Maui was one of the counties that was most affected by that most recent incident.
We were informed that we were having a tsunami somewhere around 7-ish on Thursday evening. And I was actually up in Makawa talking before the Makawa Community Association, and managing director called me up. We immediately activated the EOC because the potential for the tsunami to hit us was in a very quick time, 6 hours. We immediately, even when I was up in Makawa, we started to get all the bodies together to be able to start reacting to the tsunami. In every area, there was very little panic. And we were very grateful to the fact that everybody did their jobs. You know, we got the county employees, the essential county employees placed. All the equipment was moved. The cars, the vehicles that were in low-lying areas were all moved out of the areas. The bulldozers and backhoes were all placed strategically along the highways in areas where we're going to need help potentially. And the manpower was all put out there. And they stayed out there all night, you know, in anticipation.
In terms of damage assessment, how much is the dollar amount and where specifically was Maui most affected?
We don't know what the exact dollar amount is yet. We're still doing an assessment. But Maui was affected minimally. The biggest damage occurred in our harbors. We had some boats that did not leave the harbor, and because they didn't leave the harbor, quite a few sunk. Those that left the harbor were all okay. There were some damages to the piers. There's damage in the harbor, and that's natural because the harbor is like a bowl. Everything concentrates in it and it gets banged around. Outside of the harbor, on Molokai, there were about 6 houses that were damaged. One house was literally lifted off of its footing and moved a considerable distance along the coastline east end. And in Kihei, there were a couple of houses that were flooded but minor damage. In Pakakalo, there was a house or two that had minor damage. But almost all the rest were water damage because of the water actually coming into properties and debris. So Maui fared very, very well. We didn't have any deaths, no injuries. We did have some tense moments after the tsunami had passed. We also had a situation where the Lanai baseball team had been on Maui, and because of the damage at Manele, they couldn't go back via ferry. The ferry system had closed down. But everything was worked out. It was arranged, working with the Department of Transportation and the Visitors Bureau. We were able to get them lodgings at Lahaina Luna, and they were Sunday at 12 o'clock. They got the ferry back to Lanai. So everything worked out well, fine.
In terms of the harbors, you know, I've been getting a lot of just inquiries about the small boat harbors.
Mm-hmm.
Although they fall under the state authority,
yes,
it was the county that has the ability to open it, or is it the state?
It's all the state. The harbors are all state. And with the horse, the woman called and said, well, she was told that the mayor closed the harbor and wouldn't let the barge in. Well, that's not true. The jurisdiction was with the Coast Guard.
And now all of the county harbors are now open?
The county harbors are all open. We do have some debris in Manele that has to be cleared up so that the larger ships can go in. And in almost all of the harbor, we have some debris that we have to work with and some damage. So they're going to have to work on some of the piers. A lot of the support boxes that they had for storage of goods and supplies would throw all over the place, and they're going to have to be replaced. But primarily, we fared very well.
Okay. And then just doing some after-action assessment, we went down to
Kihei?
Kanaha area, and I saw a sign out in front of the wastewater reclamation facility about the tsunami, some kind of tsunami project.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of funding being done right now to make that tsunami safe?
We have been working for a number of years on hardening the wastewater treatment plant. So the effect of the tsunami was very minimal. We have tsunami-proofed almost all of the electrical and all of the chlorine cylinders, and most of the plant is been protected against tsunamis. So there's very little damage. The fencing, however, around the plant is a different story. The waves literally swept away a lot of the fencing around a lot of the areas along the coastline, and the wastewater plant was no exception. In Wailuku, the pump station, the fence is almost totally gone. The road around that area is almost totally gone. We're going to have to redo the fencing and the road. But those things are minor in comparison to the damage that could have occurred if the equipment had been destroyed. So we're very fortunate none of the equipment was destroyed. The treatment plant was brought back up to full production. The water systems were all up in full production. The county systems basically are all up and running. And a lot of it was good management and good planning, good work by the employees.
Great. Anything else that you'd like to add?
I just want to thank everyone on Maui for their cooperation during the tsunami. You know, when we're waking you up at 9, 10 o'clock at night and evacuating literally all of the coastline areas that were in inundation zone, we had a lot of really good cooperation, and I really want to thank everyone for their patience and their understanding. We'll try and work a little bit better, and we learned in this experience that we've got to put more restroom facilities out where people are parking their cars on the side of the road. We did have restroom facilities at all of our evacuation centers. Unfortunately, we found out during this exercise, a lot of people don't use the evacuation centers. They're parked along the hillsides, and we're going to have to do a little bit more studying and get some of these restroom facilities scattered throughout the high area. And we also have to make sure that we have people carrying bottled water and some food items going through the areas as well to provide some relief for people that are evacuated. Because once you're stuck up there, you can't move, and there's no ability to go to a store or do anything else. So we'll try and provide a little bit better service for the community. But overall, I just want to thank everybody for their cooperation. Great job. And I guess the proof is in how fast we were able to come back and become productive, and the community is back to normal.